wrong data set is more dangerous than no analytics on a simple data set. Please be careful about that. And in retail, a mistake in terms of reaching out to the customer and communicating with the customer with the wrong set of data, with the wrong set of insight is very, very dangerous. It can wipe off your brand reputation and everything. So these are the three broad kind of pillars in which you identify the customer, who that customer is, identify what that data you are talking about across channels, channel agnostic behaviors, and then you basically look at the ecosystem around it and build the data set. And these are the three fundamental pillars a lot of organizations are trying to do now. So I'll give you a little kind of some case studies about a few retailers who are there, and I'll start from the bottom here, because a company called Tesco was a company which started the club card. Anybody familiar with the club card? I know there are a few Tescoites here, but is a company in 1997 said that all I have to do is I have to understand what my customer is doing and kind of base all my decisions based on the customer behavior. And so it started the club card program in 1997, a very, very successful program. I think nobody in the world has been able to replicate it to that scale. 16 million households, okay, I'm talking about households who already have a club card in the UK. A lot of data mining happening, a company called Dunaby which does a lot of data mining of that, and it is able to give personalized targeting. Okay, we talk about personalized targeting today. I think Tesco did that about 15 years back, in which it said that, okay, if somebody comes in, he's a vegetarian and he likes curd, why should I give him a coupon for, let's say, a meat? And so that is the kind of personalization which Tesco did. Very successful, as you can see. 3% increase in like for like, a lot of merchandising decisions actually helped a lot of categories to come back. Again, Target, they refer to their customers as, anybody knows what do they call their customers? They call as guests. If you work in Target, one term that you will be familiar with is they call everybody as guests. And that is the kind of customer centricity that they have demonstrated. So all the decisions they are now trying to make, they are trying to look at this Visa card which they have launched. And so it is giving them a lot of data which is able to personify the customer for Target, and they are able to do that analysis. And if you see, again coming to Kroger and Best Buy, these are all maybe 100 years old. Tesco is a 100-year-old company, and they are still struggling to identify and define a unique customer set for their customers. And so it's a very difficult problem. Please try to understand that, and that is what the whole message is. If you do that with a small set of data, with a wrong set of data, your targeting will be wrong, your effectiveness of the promotions and everything will not be that effective. And for such large organizations to change that view, which was all siloed organization view or a siloed channel view, into a customer-centric view, is going to take another maybe 10-15 years before you can reach a state in which we can say that all the decisions that we are taking across the channels, across geographies, with the customer being kept at the center. And so that is the message which I wanted to give, we obviously know that some of the online guys are also struggling, right? So I will give you an example of Google. Google has been experimenting its grocery delivery service in the US for the last 7, 8, 10 years. And it is still not able to decide a model which is going to be profitable for them. And so it is a vice versa. So the physical retailers are now trying to basically digitize a lot of their platforms and data and things like that, whereas the online guys are struggling to get the physical aspect of it, because both are here to stay. If somebody says that physical retail is dead, I think that is not going to happen ever, as you saw in that video, right? People are going to come back to your stores, and you need to give that experience in the store to capture that data so that you can give them the right things that they want in the store itself. So with that, I would like to conclude this, and if there are any questions, I am more than happy to take some of these. Yep.
we see a lot of price comparisons, and this question is related to omnichannel experience. My question is more in terms of the price differences between different channels, which we notice even in India, and I'm sure it is probably a global phenomena. What are some of your thoughts around that?
I think very pertinent question and a very kind of intriguing as well as to why the prices would be different in a different channel, because the same customer buying the same products, and some of the people maybe 5-10 years down the line would have said that, see, online you don't have to have a big store, so your costs are less and all those things, and now you're slowly seeing that costs are converging. Actually nowadays if you see, if you go and ask somebody, he said the online platform is far costlier than a physical platform, right? And so these are all transition phases, and while we move from this channel specific to an omni-channel, these imbalances will continue, and these imbalances are basically giving rise to certain price differences. And so when online wanted to be a dominant player and trying to basically overcome physical, which is when a lot of focus, funding, whatever you call it, went into your online space. And that is where online basically seemed to be a relatively cheaper alternate or avenue as compared to physical retail. But what everybody is realizing is that it is not either or. And in your ecosystem, if you think either or, it is not going to work. And if you want to build an organization which is focused on the customer, if you want to build an organization which you want to retain and drive for a long term, you have to make sure that your channel strategies are aligned, because if you start selling something cheaper online, you will never be able to come back, because price is something which is a perception. Once you give something for a discount, it is very difficult for that customer to come back and say that, no, I want you to pay full price. He will never give you. And that is a mistake which a lot of people are trying to do, and think that if I want to bump up one channel, I do discounting, I do a lot of promotions and things like that, and then try to basically promote that channel. But it is detrimental to both. And it is detrimental to the ecosystem, which obviously I'm sure that people are realizing that it is not either or. And hence, it is important that you have that holistic, and omni-channel is all about trying to integrate the channels, have a singular view so that your costs, structures and everything is aligned, and then you are able to deliver something which is better for your customer. Does that help? Okay.
Any product or any company you can say as in India which is giving a true omni-channel experience?
All right. So I don't want to name anyone, because competition I cannot talk as such. But I can talk about Arvind, what we are doing. And when we started our journey, we were everybody knows that a lot of apparel retail and the retailers that are there in India, they felt that the online guys have taken lead, and so people were selling, oh, we don't have an online strategy, what are you guys doing, you have 1,000+ stores, but everything will move to online, and how will you be able to sustain? And obviously when the dust settled in the last 3-4 years, people are now understanding what the real value of omnichannel is. And what we did is that we basically started with a pure online strategy. Obviously it was not launched, but as an organization we said that if we do an online, it would be parallel competition, and it will just cannibalize my physical retail, which is my kind of bread and butter today. Why should I cannibalize any of my sales here? Because ultimately if I give discounts on an online channel, I will be able to sell the same thing in an online space. So what we did is, we have created now a platform. I don't know how many of you have heard, it's called now.com, which is the online platform for Arvind. And we said we will not consider that as a parallel channel. And we basically built the so-called omni-channel solution. We don't call it e-commerce solution. It's an omni-channel solution in which we basically, what we do is, suppose some of you walk into the Brigade Road Arrow store, and you say that, okay, I want a 42 blue striped shirt, and unfortunately that blue striped shirt is not there in that store. My omni-channel solution will be able to help you immediately and say that, sir, this is available in the Indiranagar 100 feet store. I will get that delivered either to your home, or if you want to pick up from the store tomorrow, I can give you that, or if you want it to be delivered to somebody else, I can do that. And that is the holistic view that we are looking at. Because what we are trying to do, it's not creating a channel, it is basically trying to create an avenue for my customer so that I don't lose that sale. And that is all I want. We call it save the sale. Instead of saying an online sale, we call it save the sale. Because if somebody has walked in and he or she has a need, why should I ask, or why should I allow that customer to go away because the stock may not be there? And so all we have done in that omni-channel solution is we have connected all the stores, we have connected all our so-called warehouses and pushed that inventory across on an online platform. Now, the fulfillment, the costing, the structures, everything happens exactly the way it happens in my physical channel. So, I am not going to differentiate anything between an online channel and a physical channel, because it is not either or, and if you build a competitive environment across those, they will try to cannibalize each other, they will try to do promotions because it's a competitive market. And that is how we are trying to build a holistic omni-channel solution, because if you start allocating something for online and start allocating something for physical, it does not work, is what we have realized. And I'm pretty sure that some of our competitors are also trying to do the same thing. And one part is around how do you integrate it, and the biggest challenge in there is operationalizing it. Yeah. So we say that if something has to be delivered within 4 hours, so we do have an express delivery. If something is very important and you say you have a birthday party and I want this to be delivered in 4 hours, we have an express delivery. And so your back-end supply chain has to be geared up to basically deliver to those kind of promises for the customer. And so that is how we are trying to address that.
Hi Piyush, over here.
Okay.
Thank you very much for giving us that insight on customers. As a retailer, you might be aware it is very difficult to capture the customer data within the store. And the second biggest challenge is dedupe that data with our online customers. What are your views on that part, how to solve that problem?
And I think I have a very kind of a different view on that, is that obviously you have to do something, so people are taking that data and then trying to put analytics on top of it and then trying to make sense out of it. But until unless you build an organization which is structurally very different, you will never be able to get a holistic view or a 360 view of your customer, which is what will transition and will happen in the next maybe 15, 20 years. It takes time to change a organization structure and an industry structure to move from a very channel specific. So for example, everybody will have a lot of data today in terms of purchases. Yeah, and you would remember that when Tesco, we were doing analysis, there were about 80 million customer records. And then somebody had to look at it and say that 80 million, we don't have active 80 million customers. Then you basically look at the data, then you try to understand there are duplications, there are a lot of fudging of data, there is wrong data which is their customer, same customer has enrolled 3 times, and so on and so forth. And so the actual data in terms of number of active customers was close to this 16 to 18 million customers. And that, arriving at that set of customers would have taken an organization like Tesco a couple of years. Just imagine how difficult the problem is. And I want you to be sensitive about that. Don't think that it is an easy problem. It's a very difficult problem. And none of the companies in the world have been able to crack this. Getting a 360 view of your customers, Rebecca Minkoff, and that is why I wanted to show that, is a small organization. It is beginning their journey. And so it is able to build a structure such that you are able to deliver a platform, or you are able to create a structure which will have a holistic view. So anywhere the customer goes, he will have the same view, and that data once collected, he or she will be able to do much far better shopping, and the company can be or company will be able to target them much better and much stronger in the future. Okay.
Hi.
Yeah.
So I'm also from the apparel and fashion industry, so I totally agree with the points that. One question I had is on the example you had given about Tesco and it being the best loyalty program because it's been able to extract customer information and then give it back to them and provide the best experience. I would like to know what, in your opinion, is a similar example in India, in any industry for that matter. Do you feel that any organization has reached such a level of maturity so as to be able to offer that level of customer experience?
So there are a lot of people who have tried customer loyalty, and one of the only primary drivers around customer loyalty in India has been sales. Okay, and you have to understand that customer comes to a shop not only for sales. Yeah, so Shopper Stop, the First Citizen program, I think they have launched quite long back, and they have been decently successful in terms of understanding the mining and data. But again, and even with Tesco, it's all about sales data, right? And for somebody to understand his or her customer, it's not only the sales data which is important. And if you saw that graph, now what is happening, people would know a term called pre-commerce, right? Now commerce happens, the transaction which happens is a very small aspect of the customer that you would want. What is he doing? What is he talking? Who is he talking to? Where does he do his research? What are the areas? Now all that data, capturing that and bringing it to the view of the customer is going to be the game changer. And nobody, in my view, have not